Hello, my name is Grace Johnson, and this video is for the Arizona Wildlife Conservation and Foundation and for the City of Phoenix Residential Development Department. This video is about an important subject that I think is often neglected in today's urban expansion. And to help tell us about these problems is a good friend. Wow, look at all this open land. Imagine all the houses we could build here for the Arizonan people. Think of all the... what are you?
Howdy, I'm the Sonny the Sonoran Desert Tortoise.
You are?
Yes, and before you build my houses out here, I need to tell you how important my home is to me. Me and my kind have lived in places like this for thousands of years, but not every part of the desert is the same. I need specific types of habitat to survive.
It's a desert. Does that mean you live anywhere out here?
That's actually the problem. Not every piece of desert is suitable for me. You see, research by my good friends Aaron Zistra and Robert Steedle found that Sonoran Desert Tortoises use particular habitat features, including rocky terrain, vegetation, and areas that provide food and shelter. Their research found that mountain foothills like this can provide valuable habitat, particularly areas with steep slopes that are predominantly north-facing.
So you're saying I shouldn't build on these areas?
I'm saying you should know what you're building before you build.
Okay, but one neighborhood can't possibly make that much of a difference.
One neighborhood? Maybe not. But what happens when one neighborhood becomes 10? And 10 becomes 50? Yeah, my good friend Sarah Carter and her research team recently studied development in the Mojave and Sonoran Desert Tortoise habitat. They found that 66 to 70% of my habitat had some development within 1 kilometer. And this wasn't just happening outside protected areas, but actually, high levels of development were found near some areas protected for my types of people.
But if the houses are not directly on top of the tortoises, then what's the problem?
Habitat fragmentation. Imagine this entire area is my habitat. Now, what if we put a road through it? And we put some houses here, and then another road here. Suddenly, my habitat isn't one connected area anymore.
So, you can still live in the pieces.
Sometimes, but getting between them becomes much harder. Research by Sean Suter and his colleagues examined Sonoran Desert Tortoise movement using GPS tracking. Their research found that vegetation, terrain, and roads can influence how much my people move through their habitat. We tortoises strongly select areas with vegetation because vegetation both provide food and shelter. So when you remove vegetation and break up the landscape, you're not just taking away scenery, you're changing how I move through my own home.
Okay, but roads are necessary. People need roads to get back to their homes.
I know. I'm not asking everyone to abandon their cars and become desert hermits. But roads create another problem. My good friends Douglas Graham Mason and Vincent Frary researched these threats to the desert tortoise. One problem is road mortality. If a road cuts through a tortoise's home range, the tortoise may still try to cross the road to reach the rest of its habitat, and that increases the possibility of getting hit by a vehicle.
Wow, that's actually worse than I thought.
We're just getting started. Let's talk about food.
Seriously? Okay.
I eat vegetation. So what happens to residential development removes native vegetation?
You lose food.
Exactly. Research by my friends Green and Baker examined urbanization in the Sonoran Desert ecosystem, and they found that removing native vegetation changes wildlife habitation and bird communities alike. Their research also discusses how landscaping practices associated with this development can reduce vegetation volume and density. A neighborhood can look green without actually replacing the habitat that native wildlife needs. A lawn isn't automatically a desert ecosystem, and a decorated plant isn't actually in tortoise food.
So when developers clear everything and then plant a bunch of landscaping afterwards...
It doesn't necessarily put the original habitat back.
Alright, Sonny, I see your point. But look, plants can always be replanted. The dirt seems fine.
Assuming that the land underneath them hasn't been damaged.
What?
Soil erosion. Eric Young and Ronald Dorn studied soil erosion caused by urbanization in the Sonoran Desert. They research found that exposure of bare ground from road to pipeline construction increased sediment yields up to 3.4 times, while housing and commercial development also increased sediment yield compared to the grazing on urban fringe of metropolitan Phoenix. So development doesn't only remove plants, it can also change the physical landscape those plants depend on.
So if the soil changes,
The vegetation can change too.
Okay, Sonny, I think I understand the problem, but there's a lot of people in Arizona. People need homes. If we can't build in the desert, then where are these people going to live? Where can we build?
That's the wrong question. The question isn't, should Arizona grow? The question is, how can Arizona grow without destroying the ecosystems that are already here? Urbanization may be inevitable as Arizona continues to grow, but residential development doesn't have to automatically mean destroying local ecosystems. Cities could identify important tourist habitat before approving residential projects. Areas of valuable habitat could be protected or avoided during development. And Carter's research demonstrates why this matters. Development is already occurring around large portions of the desert tortoise habitat. Second, preserve native vegetation whenever possible. Suda's research found that the vegetation is an important resource for a species. It provides food, shelter, and influence how mankind moves through the landscape. Third, development should minimize fragmentation. That could mean concentrating development rather than spreading it across large areas of natural habitat. It could also mean carefully planning roads and infrastructure so they don't unnecessarily divide important wildlife habitat. And finally, fourth, protect the desert soil. Gianna Dorn's research demonstrates that roads, pipelines, housing, and commercial development can increase sediment yields. Reducing unnecessary bare ground and carefully planning construction could help limit damage to the landscape.
You know, Sonny, when I started this hike, I was really excited to build more houses here. I thought it was just empty land. But now I see it's much more than that.
And that means development decisions matter.
For the Arizona Wildlife Conservation and Federation and for the City of Phoenix Urban Planning Development Department, this conversation is extremely important. As Arizona continues to grow, that means more roads, more buildings, and more construction over places and habitats that animals already call home. The goal should be to figure out how we can coincide with these animals and habitats rather than taking their home through urban development. My name is Grace Johnson, and thank you for watching.